Did they create some type of frequency and vibration, which...
Yeah. There's a famous Sumerian cylinder scroll. I'm going to send you a copy of this image. You see an Anunnaki god, you call him a god with a lowercase g. He's sitting on this box. This box has a symbol for magnetism on it, okay? And this ancient Sumerian tablet. And then, so he's sitting here with this box. There's this tripod thing up in the air, and it's got this disc. Underneath the disc is a gigantic stone table, and there's human beings. You can tell they're human because their height compared to this guy, they're tiny. And a human is picking it up with one hand. That disc is a cymatic frequency. You can perfectly match. I found the exact frequency, and I have a video on that frequency, which creates that exact same cymatic pattern. And so that cymatic pattern and magnetism in some way reduce the weight of that gigantic stone table, allowing an average normal human being to pick it up with one hand. I'm gonna send you this image. Pretty interesting stuff. So when you now say, well, how do they do all this? Cymatic frequencies and magnetism, electromagnetism and cymatic frequencies, in some way together, they combine those two things to reduce the weight. They didn't make them completely weightless, but they significantly reduced the weight of a lot of the stones. The second thing is, Thoth gives away something else in the Emerald Tablets. He utilizes cymatic frequencies and photons to manifest solid matter. Now that sounds crazy in ancient tablets, but guess what happened 2 years ago in a laboratory in the world we live in right now? Scientists got together and they combined cymatic frequencies and photons, and for the first time ever created solid matter. That's in physics.org.
I do like Billy Carson, but I'm a little bit hesitant to completely believe or agree with him. There's something in his eyes it just throws me off. Having said that, I do think that he's on target here when he's talking about, you know, how the original pyramid builders had help. I'm sorry, I can't get behind the idea that the Egyptians built the pyramids using primitive tools and means. It does not work for me. I think it is more likely that they had help, and I think the people who built the pyramids told us that. In the pictures and everything that they've left behind, we can see giant figures that helped them. So I think this image is a pretty good example of perhaps one of the devices that was used. And to me, it definitely makes a lot more sense for a device that makes the blocks lighter versus trying to roll them on logs for such a giant structure. I think that it's impossible without some kind of outwards help.
What do you see? I don't like that. Who's there? Oh, I don't like that. It's scary. You're freaking me out. What do you see? What do you see? Oh my God, this is scary.
Believe the kids, man. I've got two of my own, a toddler and a newborn. The toddler, he's been good so far. He hasn't scared his mom or I with any imaginary friends or anything like that. But the newborn, I've noticed she'll make eye contact with you, but more often than not, I see her looking over my shoulder or looking over her mom's shoulder, or just looking around the room and smiling, which isn't necessarily uncommon with babies, but I do like to think that maybe she is seeing perhaps angels or positive spirits of some kind. I don't know, but I definitely think it's a good idea to trust the kids. If you see your kids are getting upset about seemingly nothing, pointing at an area of the room out of nowhere and just getting upset, I think that mom did the right thing. She said, all right, we're going to leave this room now. Yeah, I think they have the ability to see something that we lose as we get older. Exactly what that is, I don't know, but I certainly see it every day in our newborn. When she's looking over the shoulder and smiling, you can't help but feel that there's something that's making her smile over the shoulder. She's not just doing it for no reason at all, right? Another thing that stood out to me in this video, I checked her TikTok page, and it's all wellness and wholesome things. She doesn't really do any paranormal stuff or any obnoxious clout chasing. No more than anybody else on Instagram or on any of these social medias. This was her only video related to anything spooky. It was just something her kid did that she caught, and for me that makes it more believable. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
Jerry Bruce is a father who loves spending time with his children. If you hop over to his channel, you'll find that most of his videos have a wholesome quality to them. However, out of all the videos on there, 2 in particular stand out from the rest. These 2 videos are different in that they show something that doesn't fit with the family-friendly content of this channel. If anything, they seem to have come from a horror movie, one that is based on a family terrorized by paranormal activity. As it turns out though, that's exactly the case here. Jerry has been encountering strange occurrences in his home that seem to be paranormal in nature. On May 26 of 2009, he is suddenly woken up by a strange noise inside his living room. He immediately grabs his phone and begins to record. Jerry writes, "I have never seen anything like this. My wife and I were awakened by the sound of a door closing. This video is all I got before me and my family left the house." This is what he caught.
I don't know if everybody can see this, and I've done it.
Strangely, the handle on the other side of the door is being turned as though someone inside were doing this. But, as shown in the video, no one is in there. An encounter like this would definitely spook anyone. But then again, there are some who might write this off as being caused by a draft entering the handle's lock. Although it isn't sure if that's the case, it's the second video that seemingly dispels this notion. On July 11 of 2009, Jerry's recording his son when all of a sudden, something really creepy happens. Take a look.
Whoa!
The same closet from the first video can be seen opening on its own. Then, seconds later, a toy flips over by itself. It almost seems like whatever had been inside had tripped over this toy in its attempt to get to the child. It is immediately then that he grabs his son and rushes out of the living room at once. Understandably, Jerry was totally spooked. Viewers believe that he might be dealing with something paranormal. But, as with most videos, it's hard to be sure if that's so. Could it be that a supernatural presence resides in Jerry's closet? Or is something else going on here? You be the judge.
I'm happy to say that I believe in ghosts and demons and angels and ghouls and things of that nature, but I'm still really skeptical anytime someone tells me they've interacted with one, or anytime I see video of supernatural caught on camera. I think that stuff is out there, and I do think there are videos where that stuff does get captured, but especially today with AI and I have a background in film editing. It makes it pretty easy to spot the fakes, but as time goes by and as AI gets stronger, it gets harder and harder. So anymore, it is hard to get a clear read on supposed video evidence. As a father, anytime I see videos of ghosts or anything messing with kids, it certainly does bother me. Even if they are fake, in fact, arguably, I'd say that might actually bother me even more. Don't get me wrong, I like to play with my kids and prank them and things like that, but pranking kids with dark energy, I think is that's not a good way to parent. That's not a good way to do things. That video was, I think, very believable, especially if you consider that it's not someone who's just posting that kind of content. He posts, unrelated things about family and wellness, and then just has those 2 videos. But also his reaction, that the dad screaming when the door opened and then the cart goes flying, that sounded instinctual more than it did acting. That seemed like he was genuinely freaked out, and you can see that he didn't hesitate for a split second to rush up and grab his kid so that he could get out of there. So that adds a little bit of credibility to this video, I think. As a parent, I don't prank my kids with telling them there's a ghost or a monster under their bed. That can lead to, who knows what kind of problems or psychological issues down the road. It's mean. And I think if you invite that kind of darkness into your life, sometimes it answers the invitation.
On June 23rd of 2023, a man named Pablo Dosdor was exploring the woods with his dog when all of a sudden they see a strange-looking building in the distance. Pablo and his dog approach this mysterious building that, for whatever reason, was built in the middle of nowhere. They get really close to the place before suddenly stopping dead in their tracks. Pablo can't explain it, but he can't shake the feeling that something ominous resides within this building. Now, the video that Pablo took was actually taken a few days after he came here. He was here before, and the video he took during his initial visit has left him wondering if this place might be haunted or cursed.
Bueno, encontramos una escalera. Vamos a ver si podemos acceder.
Now, it's worth mentioning that not once in any of Pablo's previous explorations has the camera malfunctioned except here. Although it could be a coincidence, the following video has left him convinced that something supernatural resides within this place. On his second visit, something happened that left him pretty spooked. Take a look.
Wow. Vamos. Wow. Pequeña espina. Cae Draco. Cae acá. Bueno. Tenemos una escalera. Sí, definitivamente se nota que era. Bueno, muy baja la entrada. Wow. Draco, vení. Bueno, definitivamente no quiere entrar. Es por algo. Vení, Draco. Realmente me siento como bastante acelerado el pulso. Hay una energía definitivamente fuerte. Draco, vení, él me sigue todo. Vení, entra. Eso. No. No. Bueno, me voy acá. Me voy acá porque no. Me estoy empezando a sentir bien.
This abandoned building, which apparently is an old church, has left not only Pablo unsettled, but his dog as well. Draco, the dog's name, seems hesitant to go inside. Initially, Draco is seen walking about without any problems, but for some reason, the inside of this church scares him. Pablo even states that something about this place doesn't sit well with him. The legend is true, as he states, the church is haunted. Now fast forward to a few days later, and Pablo is back at this place during the nighttime. Draco is also with him, but just like before, something happens that Pablo can't seem to explain. Watch.
Poco nervioso, debería decirlo. Vení, Draco, vení. Draco, por fin subió. Vení. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Por qué no querés estar acá? Vení. ¿Qué hay? Draco. Draco. Vení.
So then, could it be that Draco is sensing something frightening or ominous? Or is something else causing him to act this way? Just what exactly was making Draco so afraid?
Alright, so there's a lot to break down in this video. Let me start by saying, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I used to run all over the place doing, amateur paranormal investigations. It was something that my friends and I were very interested in. And the first thing before something freaky was about to happen, cameras malfunction, batteries start to die. The tech always likes to mess up. I would say that was his first clue. If you're approaching something and your camera malfunctions, you're probably somewhere you shouldn't be. The second clue, the dog. I mean, just like with kids, when it comes to paranormal or we'll just say things that are a danger that maybe we can't see, trust your children's intuition and definitely trust your animal's intuition. There's a reason that dog was having a problem with that church, the abandoned building in the middle of the woods, which leads us to the third clue. It's an abandoned church in the middle of the woods. Probably something that you should really stay away from. I've done plenty of urban exploring, and I'll tell you, the biggest risk isn't the ghosts, it's falling through old floorboards out in the middle of the woods where there's no one around to help you. Unless your dog is Lassie going to run back to town and tell someone, you're stuck there. Granted, sure, you've got your phone, you can call, but that's assuming you're not injured in such a way that that's not a possibility for you. The next thing that I noticed, I didn't hear any birds or wildlife. You would think that you would hear, at least some chirping and talking. And generally when the wildlife goes quiet, that means that there's a predator hunting. So, there's another reason not to be in that building. Next, he's starting to feel sick. That could be his own fear and his own anxiety, but that is something that I've heard is applied to particularly malign or malicious entities, is that they do, drain the body. They make you feel unwell. I've never personally had that happen to me, but if you're experiencing all of this at the same time, how many, that's 4 or 5 warnings at this point, and then he goes back at night. This gentleman has balls of steel. I don't think I would have been so brave to go back there at night, and I think his dog got the message immediately, and hopefully he has not had any problems or had anything follow him home. That would be my biggest worry, is getting out of there safely only to go home and be plagued by some kind of unknown malignant force. Who knows? I take that kind of stuff very seriously, though, and I think it would be in this guy's best interest if he did the same. To each their own.
You guys want to hear alien story?
Please.
This happened in 1961. This man, Joe Simonton, a chicken farmer in Eagle River, Wisconsin. He was sitting in his kitchen. All of a sudden, 2 silver bowls float down into his yard. Not a sound. And he immediately ran outside. He said this hatch opened. There was a little man inside of it, about 5 foot tall. And he was holding a container and he was gesturing for like water.
Yeah.
And then he walked up to the man. He grabbed the container, filled it up, and noticed that they were cooking something. He said it looked like they were cooking like pancakes.
What?
And so he gestured like, can I have one? They gave it to him, and then the little man, like almost like a thank you. And he said they closed the hatch and said it lifted up, went at a 45-degree angle, and then shot off and was gone over the horizon in 2 seconds.
What in the world?
This is the crazy thing. A university tested the pancake, and it was wheat that is only found in like Europe. And you think of like the UK with all the crop circles that are in like the wheat fields.
Yeah, that's where they started.
So he tried the little pancake, and he says it tasted like cardboard. If that's what they live on, no wonder they're so small.
Space pancakes. I guess they met some settlers, learned how to make some pancakes from them, and decided to pull over somewhere later because they were still having a craving for them. I mean, I get it. Pancakes are delicious, and yeah, if that was what they were living on, that would certainly explain why they were so small. But I believe it. I think it's too crazy not to be true. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I wanted to end this video today on a light note. If you liked what you saw, remember to hit the subscribe button so that I know to keep making these videos. And stay tuned, I'll try to keep them coming. Thanks.